Can you please confirm? Can you see my screen and can you hear me well? Here we have something. Today we'll talk about types of IPs. What is this? Types of IPs. Types of IPs. So we have mainly three types of IPs, Anna. What are those? Three types of IPs. So number one is public IP, private IP, and one more we have something called elastic IP. So what are those three IPs we have? Public IP, private IP, elastic IP. So before I talk about that, let me give you a real-time representation so that you can understand well. Assume this is the AWS. So this is AWS. And this is your laptop here. From laptop, you are connecting to the AWS, correct? From your laptop, you are connected through internet. So we have internet. Okay, so now the question here is, this is your laptop. The question here is, let's say from your laptop in AWS, can you go and launch EC2 instance? Yes or no? Yes, we can go and launch a EC2 instance. Remember guys, whenever you launch an EC2 instance, one IP address will be associated to this EC2 instance. One IP address. That IP is private IP. What IP? So by default, mandatorily, which is the IP address will be there for the EC2 instance? Private IP. So whenever you launch an EC2 instance, what is the IP address that you automatically get? Private IP. Which IP address? Private IP address. So I'll write here, which is the IP address that you get automatically? Private IP. So this private IP is mandatory and default. Agree? Yes, this is mandatory and this is default and mandatory. So whenever you launch an EC2 instance, automatically one IP address will get assigned and that is the private IP. So question here for you here is, from your laptop, can you connect directly to the EC2 instance with the private IP? What is your answer? Answer is no. Because what IP address is that? It's a private IP. Is it possible to connect to the private IPs directly from the internet? No. So what is the IP address that you need to assign for the EC2 instance in order to connect from internet? Public IP. Which IP? You understand getting the difference between private IP and public IP? So private. So whenever you launch an EC2 instance, automatically you'll get that one IP address will be there. What is that IP address? Private IP. So if at all you want to access the EC2 instance publicly from internet, what is the IP address that you need to associate or assign? Public IP. But the public IP is by default is assigned? No. Which is the IP address which is defaultly assigned? Only private IP, not public IP. If required, go and enable the public IP. But I'm recommending, is it good to enable the public IP address to your EC2 instances? No, because your EC2 instance should be always private. But if you have any requirement to have your EC2 instance to be accessible through internet, then which is the IP address that you need to assign? Public IP. So here we have the, so this public IP is mandatory or optional? Yes, this is completely optional. If at all required, then only. Okay, now, and we have one more IP address. Which IP address? Elastic IP. What is that? In shortcut, can I call it as EIP? Elastic IP. We call it as EIP. So EIP is also used to connect from the internet. Similarly, like your public IP. Similarly, like public IP, you can use elastic IP also. But what is the major difference between public IP and then elastic IP? So the major difference here is, if you take public IP, come in. Who's that? Kaida? Okay. So, so guys, what is the IP address that, so if you want, guys, if you want to connect to the EC2 instances from internet, what is the IP address that you need to assign? Public IP. So the major difference between public IP and elastic IP is, the major difference between public IP and elastic IP is this. If you stop and start the EC2 instance, your public IP address will be changed. What is that? If you stop and start the EC2 instance, which IP address will be changed? Public IP address will be changed. Let's say, for example, you are my customer. So now I have launched one EC2 instance. I have given to that EC2 instance. What is the IP address that I should give it to you? Public IP. So I have given public IP to you. And tomorrow, for some reason, I have stopped and start the EC2 instance. What will happen? IP address will be changed. The customer can connect to the EC2 instance now? No. So what will happen is, again, he will call you and saying that I'm not able to connect to the machine. So then again need to give the another IP address. So is it good to assign public IP address to give to the customer? No. So for that reason, if you stop and start the EC2 instance, the public IP address will be changed. So, but if you don't want the IP address to be changed, if you stop and start also, IP address should not be changed. So which is the IP address that you should use? Elastic IP. Which IP address? Elastic IP. You got this? Which IP address you should use? Elastic IP. So the major difference is what? If you stop and start the EC2 instance, elastic IP address will be changed? No, it will be dynamic or static? Static. Which is dynamic? Public IP is dynamic. You understand the difference? So here he have it as, this is dynamic and this is static. So this elastic IP and public IP, both are mandatory or optional? Those are optional. They're optional. Which one is mandatory? Private IP is mandatory. Is this clear? Super. So now question here is, sir, we know when to use public IP, we know when to use elastic IP. When do we use private IP? Let's say, for example, I went and launched the EC2 instance. I went and launched one more EC2 instance here. Okay. This has the, whenever you launch an EC2 instance, what is the IP address that you will get it automatically? Private IP. Now tell me, if this, I'm not accessing from outside, I want to access from here to here, then which type of IP address will you use to connect? Yes. So if you want to connect between two EC2 instances, which is the IP address that you should use? Private IP. And by the way, everything should be inside the VPC or not? Yes. Clear? So these are the different types of IP address. So let me start writing for you. So this is called public IP, and then we have private IP, and then lastly we have elastic IP. So which can be accessed from internet. So this public IP is mandatory or optional? So public IP is optional. Public IP is dynamic. Dynamic meaning if you stop and start, IP address will change. If you stop and start the EC2 instance, public IP will be changed. Who will assign this public IP to EC2 instance? AWS. AWS assign public IP to the EC2 instance. Is it clear? And there is a question, sir, in real time, which type of IP is used between public and elastic? It's up to you, no? So which one is used, public IP or elastic IP? It's up to you. Then we go with the elastic. But I'm telling you, is it recommended to expose your EC2 instance publicly? No. I'll tell you one real-time scenario. Okay, see here. You tell me, this is your laptop. You are connecting from internet to the to the AWS, correct? But end of the day, you will be joining some company, no? You will be working to AWS from the company, or you will be working to AWS from internet? From company only, no? So assume this is the company. This is the company. Okay. So this is the company. This company has a public network or private network? Company will have public network or private network? Private network. Okay. So end of the day, what you will be doing is from company, you will be connecting to AWS. From here to here, you will be connecting. So if you want to connect from your company to AWS, how do you connect? We have a concept called VPN. What is it, Nana? Virtual Private Network. Which one? Virtual Private Network. So this VPN will be set up automatically by your company with the help of you as an AWS engineer. So from your company, you will be connecting to the AWS through VPN. So for that reason, okay, now you tell me. So as it is through VPN, it is private to private or not? Okay, now tell me, if I want to connect to the EC2 instance, which is to private IP, should I go like this? No. Through VPN, I can directly connect to the EC2. So VPN is nothing but private network. So can I connect to the private IP address directly through VPN? Yes. So this is how you will be connecting to the EC2 instance, not from this. Not good. Through internet, you should not. So your EC2 instance should be always private. But if you want to connect to the private EC2 instances, private IPs, through from where do you connect? Through VPN, you need to connect. Okay. So that was a real time. So what is private IP? Which cannot be accessed from the internet. Private IP is mandatory. So this private IP is static or dynamic? Or mostly static. When do you use this? So within the VPC, you can use this private IP and through VPN. Very good. And coming to the elastic IP same as sorry, same as public IP. But elastic IP is dynamic or static? Static. So if you stop and start the EC2 instance, IP address will change or not change? If you stop and start the EC2 instance, EIP will not be changed. And these elastic IPs are static IP address, right? Elastic IPs are static IP address. But the thing is here, giving someone for you static IPs is very, very, very costly. And also static IPs is not that frequently used. So, okay, you have an internet connection in your home, no? from Airtel, Geo, Act, are they giving dynamic IP or static IP to your laptops, to devices? Dynamic IPs. Which one? Because static IPs, you need to pay for it, and then that is not that easily will not be available for you. It's very rare, and it's very scarcity also, right? So no one will give you that static IP just like that. But remember, here elastic IPs, AWS are giving you 5 elastic IPs free. How many? 5 elastic IPs are free. So 5 elastic IPs are free. When it is free, whenever you create one elastic IP, you must and should need to attach to the EC2 instance. You create one elastic IP and must and should you need to attach it to the EC2 instance. But you created one elastic IP and it is just lying over there, not associated to any EC2 instance. It will be free? No, it will be charged. Even though it is below 5 also. The motto here is elastic IP should not be keeping idle. It has to be attached to the EC2 instance. If it is attached to the EC2 instance, how many IPs are free? 5 IPs are free. If it is not attached to the EC2 instance, then you have only two elastic IPs are running. Billable or free? Billable. So don't keep the elastic IPs idle. Clear? So, and how many elastic IPs are free? 5. 5 EIPs are free. EIP has to be associated to the EC2 instance. Now, if you have not associated, billable or free? Yes, if we have not associated to, if you're not associated or not used EIP to any instance, it will be charged. If those EIPs are below 5 also. So don't keep it ideal. Ideal EIPs are charged. Clear? Is it clear? Different types of IPs? You tell me. One question I'll ask. Say yes or no. For one EC2 instance, can we have only one private IP? Yes or no? Yes. So one EC2 instance can have only one private IP. Okay. So EC2 instance can have private IP plus public IP? Yes, possible. Can EC2 instance can have private IP and elastic IP? Yes. Can EC2 instance can have private IP plus public IP plus elastic IP? Huh? Answer is last one. Answer yes or no? Answer is no. Answer is no. No. Either you need to have either public IP or elastic. Is it possible to have both? Public IP characteristic is what? Dynamic. Elastic IP characteristic is what? Static. Is it possible to have both at the same time? No. So private IP is mandatory. No, you need to have either public IP or elastic IP. Is it possible to have private IP, elastic IP, public IP, all three? Not possible. You understand the logic? Sir, silly question. If we stop and start EC2, will private IP will be changed? Yes or no? No. Do you see I wrote it here? Yasin. Yasin only. So we have private IP. You can have private IP plus public IP you can have, or private IP plus elastic IP you can have. But is it possible to have all three? Plus EIP. Is it possible? Last one is not possible. Okay, na? Crystal clear on all the different types of IPs. So this is the easiest way and deepest way of learning the IPs. And also I clearly gave you the scenario when you will be using the IPs here. And please keep this in mind. Don't assign public IPs or elastic IPs to the EC2 instance. For demo purpose, for learning purpose, we go and do it. But in your real time, because you tell me, now as we are learning, we are in this situation or this situation, first or second? Second situation. We are not in the company, no. If you are in the company, you will be using private IPs. We are in the internet. For that reason, we'll use what IP address? If you are in internet, what IP address you need to use? Public IP address. So you need to assign the public IP address to the EC2 instance and then connect to it. But if you are in company, you no need to have a public IPs. For customers, they will connect to the EC2 instance or they will connect to your load balancer. Load balancer. Then what is the reason of giving public IPs or elastic IP to the EC2 instance to the customers? No. Logic. Understood. Super. Okay. Okay. So you might have heard this since childhood. I mean, in your college days. Or what is metadata? So that one always everyone say, metadata about data is called the metadata. Rightly said, right? So anything metadata meaning data about data. Let's say you have launched an EC2 instance. When it is launched, who has launched, right? What IP address, which security group, which instance type, all this data, no? What is all this called? Metadata. So here we have, instead of calling metadata, here I call it as instance metadata. What is that? What is instance metadata? Data about instance is called instance metadata. Data about instance called instance metadata. So when you launch an EC2 instance, we need to know the information about the EC2 instance. No, what is the private IP? What is the public IP? Who has launched? Who, right? Which VPC it has launched? Which subnet it has launched? Which everything we need to know, right? All these things you will find it. You will find out using in the section called detail section. What section? In the console, when you launch an EC2 instance, when you select the EC2 instance, there will be a detail section will be there. One tab will be there. If you click on it, all the metadata will be visible. So from console, from where do you get instance metadata? From which section? Detail section. From console, you get the instance metadata information. Okay. Now, about the EC2 instance, you will get the information from the console from detail section. But I want to know this from the CLI. Let's say I have an EC2 instance. I want to know from which AMI, from which image that EC2 instance launched. What is the private IP? What is the public IP? Which VPC? Which subnet ID? Which availability? I want the details. Go to the console, click on the EC2 instance, go to the detail section. You will see everything. But if I am in CLI, what is CLI? Command line interface. So through CLI, how do I get my instance metadata? Guys, for that, pakka certification question. You need to follow this below URL. So the URL is http://169.254.169.254/latest/meta-data/. Say this. Okay, say with me. http:// see me. 169.254/latest/meta-data. Say now. http://169.254/169.254/latest/meta-data. So this URL is pakka certification question. So what they do is they will change the IP address. They will say 254.169. Is that correct? No, it is 169. 254. And they will replace latest with metadata, and they replace with metadata with the latest. And sometimes they will remove minus, meta minus data. They'll remove that. So you need to clearly take care of that. So this Pakka certification question. So using this URL, we'll get the information about the instance through CLI. Where? Through CLI. Is that clear? Okay, good. So use this inside EC2 instance only on CLI. Through CLI only it will work. Okay, now Shilpi is asking to repeat. Which one? So instance metadata. Instance metadata. What is instance metadata? Data about instance. So what is the data about the instance generally? Information about the instance, like what when you have launched, right? Who has launched? What is the VPC ID? What in which available zone you have launched, which subnet you have selected, which key pair you have selected, what volumes you have attached. All the information about the EC2 instance, we call it as instance metadata. So from console, how do you get it, Nana? Through which section? From console. From console, you will get it through details section. So from CLI, how do you get it? Using this URL. What is that URL again? 169.254, 169.254 slash latest slash meta minus data. So using this, but I'll show you this in the practical how to implement it. Okay. Okay, good. And now another very important thing here, we call it as user data. What is it, Nana? Very important. 2 wickets. Who is gone? Okay. So next we have something called user data. What is it? Name clearly understand. What data is this? User data. Who is user? We. We are the user. So you are providing the data. Okay. So now let's say, for example, how many steps are there to launch an EC2 instance? 7 steps are there. So let's say, for example, I want to, can you tell me one software? Can you tell me one software to install in the EC2 instance? Tomcat. Okay. Tomcat is one of the software. Okay. Tool. Sorry. So installing Tomcat. How do we install Tomcat? First of all, you need to launch an EC2 instance. After launching the EC2 instance, and I told you this, how many states are there? Instance states. Huh? How many instance states are there? How many? That is status check you are saying, Rahul. That is status check. I'm asking instance state. Instance states. 6 are there. How many? What are those? Pending, running. Remember this. Pending, running. Stopping, stopped. Shutting down, terminated. How many are there? 6. Don't forget. Okay. So now, so once you launch an EC2 instance, it will mean running state. What I do, I log into the EC2 instance. I log in the EC2 instance, and then what I do, I download Tomcat inside it, and then I'll click on next, and then I install it. That is the normal method. Yes or no? So now I want to install this Tomcat for 10 missions. Will you do the same thing 10 times? Will you do the same thing 10 times? No. So what you can do is, okay, good. So Kritika and people are saying that, can you use image? Okay, you can use image. You install in one EC2 instance, take the image and launch 10 machines. All Tomcats will be there. But here also, not only Tomcat, if you want to do something, let's say, for example, you need to write, okay, if in Linux, what is the machines that we are using? Linux machines. In Linux machines, you need to write something called shell script. What script? Shell script. So what you need to do is write the shell script in user data, whatever you want to install or whatever the things that you want to perform, put it in the script format, put it in user data, and then launch, fire the EC2 instance. Once you fire the EC2 instance, whatever you put it in user data will be executed in the boot time. Let's say you know how to write a shell script to install Tomcat. Write it in script, no. Put it in user data and then fire the EC2 instance. Once the EC2 instance is started, in the background, this script will get executed. By the time EC2 instance is ready, Tomcat is already installed onto that machine. Let's say I want to deploy one small website. Let's say I need to install Apache. I want to install Apache. Can I write as one small shell script and put it in user data and launch the EC2 instance? Once the EC2 instance is ready, automatically Apache is installed inside it because your user data has executed in the backend. When? At the boot time. At the what time? You got this point. So what is user data? We call it as bootstrapped script. What is that? Bootstrap script. And that meaning the script will be executed in what time? Boot time. Booting time. So that script, your wish. Whatever you want to do it automatically. If you don't want to do it manually, if you want to do it automatically, write it in the shell script, put it in user data section. And once you fire the EC2 instance, automatically whatever you have written inside it will be executed in the backend in the boot time. So by the time the machine is up, everything will be installed inside that machine based on what I have written in the script. Okay. Now let's say, for example, instead of creating image, can I do like this? I'm launching the EC2 instance. I'm launching the EC2 instance. Can you launch multiple EC2 instances at the same time? I can launch 10 machines also at the same time. I'll put that script in user data. And when I'm launching, I'll put number 10. How many numbers you want to launch the EC2 instance? 10. I'll put 10 and then boom, fire. All 10 machines will be launched at the same time. In all machines, user data will be executed. Tomcats will be there. You know need of image also. Remember, this user data will be executed only for the very first time of the EC2 instance. Let's say, for example, you have written user data and you launch the EC2 instance to install Apache. Next time when you stop and start, Apache is already installed, no? Apache is already installed. Do you need to run the user data again? So user data will be executed only at the first time of launching the EC2 instance. Second time will it execute? No, because the script is already executed initially. What is there to execute again? So user data will be executed only for the first time of launching the EC2 instance. Sir, is this script execute every time? That's what I'm saying. Zafar, you got it now, right? So what is user data? Bootstrap script. So the script which you provide will run at the boot time of the EC2 instance. So user data will run only for the very first time. If you're using Linux operating system, what is the script that you use? Shell script. For Windows, you can use PowerShell also. Is it clear? They can win easily, no problem. है ना? Easily achievable, no? Target. Yes or no? 100. I'm talking about match. 12 hours done. Already they are reaching 100. Still, how many are left? 92 on left. They easily single-handed they can do. No need to even watch. Okay, clear? See, I told you yesterday I'll give you live updates. I should be on my words now. Yeah, that's why I'm doing, no? Sincere, sir. Okay, so till now, I was saying, how many steps are there to launch an EC2 instance? Amma sir, since day one you are asking this 7-step, like how you are going to that Edukondalu, right? So in Tirupati, 7 hills. So similarly, like, similar here also you have 7 steps. But did I tell you the 7 steps? No. So that is the reason why I like you, this batch basically. So other batches, what they do is, they have this eager, sir, I will not tell to anyone, sir. What are the 7 steps? Are it wait, those 7 steps we are learning, every day, right? So don't wait. So you have not hurry me saying that, sir, what are those 7 steps? So you blindly followed my words. So it's time to reveal that 7 steps now. Okay. So let's do. So yeah. The 7 steps. You see the heading also, the 7 steps. Initially, Chitti, initially, they were clearly 7 steps. Initially, they were clearly 7 steps. To launch an EC2 instance, clearly there were 7 steps. But now you know that console is changing. Console is changing. They call it as, like, similarly, remember in Facebook we had a old Facebook, and immediately they changed it to new one, right? Did you like the new one initially? No. You get habituated. No. Similar here also, AWS, they are changing the look. They are changing the look. In the old look, clearly 7 steps are there. In new look, what they did was they combine all the 7 steps into one single step. So in previously, we have step number 1, step number 2, and next step number 3, next step number 4. Now it is not like that. Everything will be in a single step. Okay. So, but it is the same thing only. So let us talk about those steps. The first step here is select AMI. Which is that? Did we learn this? So what is the AMI that we should be select? That is Amazon Machine Image only. I told you which is the operating system that we should select. Like in Linux, what flavor? Red Hat. Which one? Red Hat. So Red Hat is the operating system on Linux that we will be selecting it. So whichever you want, you can go and select. But as we should be inside the same page and you should not get the bills, for that reason I said we should use Red Hat. If you are Windows, you can go for Windows Server 2022. So that is the first step, is we need to select the AMI. You can select either Linux or Windows. That is the first step. Second step is mainly select instance type. Do we know what is instance type that we select? T2 micro. Which one? Did we learn this or not? Okay. And the next step here we have instance configuration. Instance configuration meaning all, yeah, like how many instances that you want to launch, and do you want public IP or not? You would user data or not, right? Basically, all configurations you put it inside this. I'll show you in the lab what are the things that we have. There is a big list is there. We no need to talk about the entire big list. So basically instance configuration will be there. And then the next step would be select storage. Which one? Storage meaning what? Storage meaning volumes. EBS volume. So I told you that what is the default volume that you get? Root volume. When you're launching the EC2 instance, automatically one volume will come. What volume? Root volume. Is it possible? If required, can we go and add additional volume also? It's up to you. But by default, you will get a root volume. So those are EBS volumes. So root volume you get. Okay, root volume you get. What is the default size for Windows? How much size GB? 30 GB. Very good. Linux? 8 or 10 GB you'll get it. So if required, can you go with additional volumes? Is it required? Yes. Which is the default volume type that you get? Default volume type. What? Default. What is the default volume type? Okay, see here. Online's answered. Offline people. There are different types of volume types, EBS volume types. GP2, GP3, IO1, IO2, ST1, SE1 standard. Out of all these things, which one is the default? In interview, they don't ask like this. What? How I'm asking? Tell me. IO1, IO. They will not sing the song. Huh? So which one? GP2. Okay. So the next step here is select security group. Which one? So which is the security group that we should be using it? Yes. Which one? Default security group. I told you, is it recommended to create a new security group for now? No. So let's use the default security group. And then here we have something called add tags. What is a tag? What is a tag? Key value pair. What is that? Key value. So when you're launching the EC2 instance, you should give the name, no? So name is equal to, let's say, Linux instance. You can give some name, any name. How many tags you can have per resource? Maximum. How many? 50 tags. And finally, you'll have a review and not review. And we have something called attach a PEM file. Remember, what is that? Attach a PEM file. So by default, do we have any PEM file? We have to create it, right? So I told you also, when you're launching the EC2 instance, must and should a PEM file should be attached. By default, we don't have any PEM files. We need to create the PEM file. So that is the place where you need to create a PEM file. And then here, you need to create. So will you create for every EC2 instance, will you create a new PEM file? No, we'll create only one PEM file. And then we'll go and launch the EC2, multiple EC2. One PEM file can be attached to multiple EC2 instances. Yes. So create it, or once you create it, just use it. And finally, launch the EC2 instance. How many steps are there now? Now you tell me all these steps we have learned and you're clear on it. So these are the 7 steps. So to learn the entire EC2, so keep a topic not completed. Why? Oh, that small bit, no? That one, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Don't worry. I'll tell you. I have that in my mind. But we have completed 99.99%. But you are saying, sir, that 0.00 is not completed. Right? Concentrate on 99%. No, why are concentrating on that 0.1%? Okay. So these are the 7 steps. So, Nana, see, what I was about to tell that keypads topic here is, see here, I'll tell you this now. I'll ask questions, say yes or no. So now you have 20 EC2 instances, all DevOps machines. So you have key pair with you. DevOps machines, developer machines, test machines are there. How many key pairs are there? 3. How many key pairs we'll create per each team? We'll create 1. So how many key pairs we have now? 1 for DevOps, 1 for testing, 1 for developer. How many key pairs are there? 3. So now let's say you have 15 machines now. How many? 50 machines are there. Out of this, 20 people, 20 machines are DevOps, 10 machines are testing, and 10 machines are developers. Now all these people need to log into the EC2 instance, no? For that, they need to have password or not? Listen this carefully. They need to have the password or not? Who has PEM file? We have PEM file. Admin, that means you, engineers, AWS engineers has the PEM file. You have the PEM file. Will you share this PEM file to all these 50 people? Not good. Because PEM file is nothing but it's an administrator. That means you, the super user. If you use the PEM file, you will be the whole and soul. You have full access to the EC2 instance. Is it good to give full access to the EC2 instance for all 50 people? No. So you don't want to share the PEM file. But if you don't want to share the PEM file, what they'll ask? They need password. No. They will call you every time and ask, Babu, give me the password. 50 people started asking. So you will go mad. You don't want to share the PEM file. You don't want them to ask the password. This is the problem. So for this, what we can do is, guys, what we can do is, we use this concept. So this, what is the default username for Windows? Administrator. What is the default username for Linux? These are local users. What is that? If you have 50 machines, all 50 machines have inside, what is the username? Administrator. Administrator is a local user. What user? For that reason, you need to give the PEM file and get the password for each and every EC2 instance. That is the reason why every EC2 instance has different password, because that is a local user. What is that, Nana? For that reason, so now, instead of having the local user, I told you this topic already in IAM section. Where is the users where we can go and create centrally? Where do we create the users centrally? Anyone? In IAM, we have learned this. We create, instead of creating local users, we create it in one centralized location. What controller is that? Domain controller. Remember? Remember Active Directory. Remember? No. Oh, that. You thought? What? Oh, what? Okay. So that is a domain Active Directory. What is the concept? Louder. Domain controller. What is this topic? Active Directory. Which one? Which one? Which one? Active Directory. So that is, what is this Active Directory called in AWS? Directory services. Which one? Which one? So Active Directory concept in AWS, we call it as directory service. So can we, instead of creating the local users, can I create the users centrally in Active Directory? And then all these 50 users, what I do, all these 50 EC2 instances, I'll attach this all EC2 instance to the Active Directory. Then what I do is, I have 50 users, no? All 50 users, usernames I'll be creating in the Active Directory. I'll create the users in the Active Directory. Now all the 50 EC2 instances are attached to this Active Directory or not? Now where are your 50 users created? In Active Directory. And all the EC2 instances are joined to the Active Directory or not? So this Active Directory knows all the EC2 instances? Yes, because you have joined this EC2 instance to the Active Directory. Now you have users in the Active Directory. Now, let's say I have a user called Rashid, Shiva. I have another person same like you, that's why, right? Shiva. So now Shiva is a local user, domain user, domain user. Shiva is created in the domain controller. And the EC2 instances are attached to the domain controller, no? So I'll give Shiva and username and password to the Shiva, and Shiva can log in with his own username and password to the EC2 instance. Do we need to have a password of the PEM file? He has his own username and password. So with Active Directory concept, you can ignore the PEM file concept. But if at all, do Shiva has a full access to the EC2 instance? No. Who has full access? We, admin, because we have the PEM file. Because administrator username and password we have. Shiva is only just a guest user. He can log in and he can use it and he can leave. So do we need to create users in each and every EC2 instance? No, we need to create users in Active Directory. So this is the advanced topic where most of in companies, they will set up all these things. But for us, it is not possible to set up Active Directory or domain controller because it charges $350 per month. How much? But that. Now you understand how to resolve that key pair issue? Okay. So now, and we have a habit of doing some extra, no? And by the way, congratulations, we are done with EC2. Good, right? So EC2 is the biggest topic in AWS. EC2 is the biggest topic. And I hope each and every topic is crystal clear for you on EC2. Yes or no? And how are permissions given to? So those are all, we don't worry, because that Windows administration will take care of it, Shiva. So we need to use a concept called group policies that you don't know now, okay? But if you know Active Directory concept, we have something called group policy. Using that, we can give permissions, Shiva. So as I said, I would like to give all the time little bit advanced extra. So you want one extra topic on EC2? That is advanced topic, not required, but I'm just sharing you for your knowledge purpose. Ready? Okay. So going good. Okay. So now see here. What is this? Load balancer. And then we have EC2 instances. Do you remember the ship issue that I told you yesterday? IP address issue. And I also told AWS has implemented something to resolve that issue, correct? That will help you here. This one will help. Okay, so this is in AWS, we have this. Assume this is in which region? Mumbai region. Okay, see here, whenever you hit your application, let's say our application name is boom.com. Whenever you hit this application, tell me to which service in AWS will hit first. Huh? I'm saying which service will hit first. Online answered. Remember Route 53, no? Because the first it will hit the Route 50 because you do the makeup, no, there. Boom.com is nothing but it's pointing to the nasty URL. So whenever someone hit the application, which is the first service in AWS will hit first? Route 53. So remember that is a certification, interview question, not certification. So first it will hit Route 53, then it will check from where it should get routed, then it will route to the load balancer. Okay, now listen this carefully, Nana. I have, so this is, there is a customer in US. This guy is in US. Okay. Any customer who is accessing our URL from India, they'll have a low latency or high latency? Low latency. And now This guy wanted to access our application all the way from US to here. He'll have a whole low latency or high latency? Obviously, high latency. Why? Because it is very far, correct? And you have something called hops. What is this called? You know what is hop? So if you want to access your website or anything, it will go hop to hop. That meaning first it will go to your internet, from there it will go to DNS, from there it will go to another fiber network, from there it will go to some other company, from there it will go to some. So these are all called hop, hop, hop. So as from US and Mumbai, as this distance is very far, you have so many hops or not? How many hops are there? That much latency you will have. That's why you have a high latency. So, and we use internet to access our application or not? So in order to resolve this issue, how to resolve this issue to have a low latency? No. How to resolve this issue? How to give low latency for? You got that, but you're referring. You got in your mind, but you're not able to recollect the name. Online answered. Cloud front. Remember? Edge locations. Remember? So if you want to give low latency across the globe, which is a thing that you should use? Cloud front. Cloud front has CDN, no? Remember CDN, content delivery network. So, and this cloud, guys, these edge locations are completely managed by whom? AWS, no? So every region has its own edge locations. Do you remember that edge location topic or not? Right? So every region has the edge location. I assume this is a CDN edge location. This is a edge location, EL. So how this will work is, US guy will connect to the edge location. Through edge location, you will connect to your application. You'll have a low latency or high latency now? Definitely need to have a low latency. Getting it? Because our application is cached in the edge location. Our application is cached in the edge location. Okay, now there is one more customer here in US. There is one more customer saying that, hey, AWS engineer, can you give me the IP address of your website so that I can put it in my firewall? Same ship concept. Remember? So we got this kind of people here now. I want to put it in the firewall. So is it possible for us to give the IP address of the load balancer? Not possible. For that reason, AWS has implemented one new feature, not service, new feature. We call it as global accelerator. What is that? Global accelerator. This is very fantastic topic. So global accelerator, AWS will give you 2 static IPs. How many? AWS will give you 2 static IPs. And this global accelerator is attached to the nearest edge location. Edge location. Right? And it will connect to the edge location. And through edge location, it will connect it to your application. Can I give these 2 static IPs to the firewall here? Yes or no? Can I give the 2 static IPs to the firewall now? No issues. No issues. And you might ask, sir, 2 static IPs of the global accelerator. No. Do we have only one global accelerator? Answer is no. So for this, you need to know this topic. You have a concept called unicast IP. What IP? Unicast IP. Unicast IP. Very important. Unicast IP meaning one server holds one IP address. One server will hold how many IP addresses? Only one IP address. And there is also another IP called anycast IP. What IP? Anycast IP meaning all servers holds same IP address. All servers will hold same IP address and the client is routed to the nearest one. See here. Now, there might be multiple global accelerators. Global accelerators is completely managed by whom? AWS. So global accelerators are there so many. And these all global accelerators will have the same IP. How many IP address global accelerator have? 2 static. These 2 static IPs are unicast or anycast? Anycast. Which one? That meaning multiple global accelerator have same IP address. So whenever you are accessing your website, first it will hit where? Global accelerator. Global accelerator will see which is the IP address nearest to me. Because IP address are the same for multiple global accelerators. No, whichever the global accelerator is near, hey, take this request. And that global accelerator will be connected to the edge location. Edge location will be connected to the application. So how fast it will be? My static IP address concept is also resolved. And my speed is also increased. That is why it's called global accelerator. Accelerator meaning what? Rising it, no? Speed. Locally or globally? That is why it's called global accelerator. So this will give you how many IP assets it will give? 2. Static or dynamic? Those are anycast or unicast? Anycast. So with this concept, you can use the global accelerator to your application. It will increase your performance also. This is the advanced topic. Server meaning here in the backend EC2 instances. So this global accelerator is managed by whom? AWS. Clear? So I'll write a few things for you here. Let's write down. So leverage the can this global accelerator is utilizing AWS internal network or not? Obviously. So it leverage the AWS internal network to route to your application. Please write down. Very important, guys. 2 anycast IPs are created for your application. Okay. Shivakumar, anycast meaning multiple global servers will be there in the backend. That meaning global accelerators. So that multiple global accelerators will have the same IP address concept. That is called anycast. The anycast IP sends traffic directly to the edge locations. The edge locations send traffic to application. Okay, I clearly wrote what the global accelerator will do now. Clear? Yatin, we are not talking about EC2. EC2 instance will be here. What do you deal with the EC2 instance here? The concept of all these things here, global accelerator is connected to your load balancer in the backend. And also keep this in mind, guys. Using CloudFront, using what? Nowadays, have you heard about some attacks happening on the websites? Yes or no? Some malicious attacks are hackers, right? All attacking the websites, right? So the main thing here, we call it as DDoS attack. Which attack? Excuse me. DDoS attack. All these DDoS attacks can be stopped using the concept called WAF. What's that? Web Application Firewall. Which one? So it is a firewall to your application. So whenever someone is hitting your application, first WAF will screen. So WAF have so many rules to stop unnecessary things to go to your application. And also there is service called AWS Shield. What's that? AWS? So as the name clearly says, it is a shield for your application. So if any hacker wants to touch your application using any kind of nasty attacks, first it has to go through the shield. So these shields are not mandatory. If at all you have that kind of requirement, go and enable the shield. So if you have any very important websites, confidential thing, definitely you need to have a AWS shield should be there. And you have WAF, and also all kind of attacks will be stopped. Okay. So DDoS, write down guys. So DDoS protection through WAF and AWS Shield. Clear? Okay, so many people have this question, difference between global accelerator versus CloudFront, correct? Now, global accelerator will cache, no. Who will cache? CloudFront will cache. That's a major difference. So please write down the differences. I'll write it here for you. So they both use the AWS global network and its edge locations around the world. So both services are integrated with AWS Shield for DDoS protection. CloudFront, what does it do? It improves performance for both cache content, like your images and videos. Now, this CloudFront will cache static content, dynamic content, or both. Very good. So dynamic content and static also it will be. So content is served from edge locations. So this is CloudFront. Coming to global accelerator. What does it do? Oops. It will improve performance for a wide range of applications. And also it is good for, or else it supports to anycast static IPs, right? And whitelisting IPs, and good for disaster recovery. Clear? Let me take the questions. Global Accelerator contains load balance static IPs? No. Load balancer, global accelerator contains their own IP addresses. Those are anycast, and load balancer will send the traffic to edge locations. From edge locations, it will be connected to your load balancer. I mean application. Yes. Sorry, sir. This question is related to IPs. There's a global accelerator identity. That request is coming from India or Japan. It can send the yes. It will automatically handle that. But that kind of questions, Yasin, we'll see it in Crowd 53, not here. One question: if you are creating 50 EC2 instance and what to have IP address in some range, is then it is possible? Yes. There is a question from Yatin. See, guys, he's asking if you are creating 50 EC2 instances and what to have IP in some range. If you want to have the IP address in some range, we discussed this in NACL topic. I told you, can we create a separate isolated small networks? What are those called? Subnets. What are those called? Subnets. That subnets you can give some range, Yatin. So you need to give some range for each and every. I have been told that topic because you will get confused. That topic, subnet topics, I will tell you in the VPC section, not here. So if you want to have some range, so you need to create the VPC should be in some range. In the small, big range, you create small ranges called subnets and launch EC2 instance in that subnet. Sivareddy, not now. In VPC, not here. Nana, is this clear till here, everyone? So can I say global accelerator is used for good speed and high availability purpose? Yeah. Good. Excellent. So this is the, and by the way, this is global accelerator is not free. It is billable. And it charges approximately $20 per month. So, and that too, guys, you no need to do anything here. Just to only checkbox is there. Global accelerator. You want or not. Kavala vadda. That's it. If you say, kavalaya, then enable it. Just enable it. If you don't want, don't enable it. So if you click on enable, that means checkbox. If you say, yes, I want global accelerator. And when you are creating load balancer, which one? When you're creating a load balancer, then it will ask, you want global accelerator or not to attach to your load balancer. If you select yes, automatically global accelerator will be created. That will be attached to your load balancer. And then normal. And people started using your global accelerator. If your customers are using global accelerator also will give a nasty URL. Global accelerator will give you a nasty URL. And how do you do the makeup for nasty URL? Route 53. So give that to Route 50. See, Nana, see here. Boom.com is nothing but your load balancer only. Yes or no? See, now I'll write it here. See, we have, see here, guys. See, Rahul. See here, we have user, no? So we have user here. So whenever user hit boom.com, where does it go first? Route 53 it go. In Route 53, you have a route to send it to ELB. Yes or no? This is one. In first case, is it using global accelerator? Is it using edge location? No, simple, plain. And one more thing here, boom.com, it go to Route 53. Then it will go to CloudFront. From there, it will go to Cloud. Is it using CloudFront or not? Yes. And also here, user is there who is sending boom.com. And then it will go to Route 53. There we have GA. From GA, it is going to the load edge location, that meaning CloudFront. From there, edge location. And from there, it is going to ELB. So if using the last one, it will cache also, it will increase speed also, everything you have. You have three options, whichever based on requirement, you can choose it. Okay. Super. So now purely our EC2 is completed. So from Monday, tom on practicals, right? So from Monday, we'll be doing a lot of practicals. Okay. Good. Take the screenshots if required. Wait. One more is there. One more. Cameraman, focus karo. And one more. Okay. And that's all. You should know, na? You learned the topic, huh? Done? Okay, good. Second one, take it. Good, Nana. So can you give me the final CC for today online? So that is the deepest and that is the maximum of EC2. So we have learned a lot. So what you do is go with this concept. From Monday, we'll do the labs. Okay. Great. So that is all, guys, for today. And I'll see you on Monday with the next topic. Until then, take care. Bye-bye. Have a nice day and have a nice weekend. Good night.